I just want you all to know that I so appreciate Jackie being able to fill the pulpit while I had a couple weeks off. I certainly appreciate for doing that for us, and I hope she was a blessing for you all as well.
Leftover stuff. I forgot the glasses. I found a pair in the bottom of it. One of the benefits of carrying around a big bag, you never really know what you left in there. So my glasses are leftovers. That's awesome. Because today I'm talking about leftovers. All the stuff that I have left over. That's better. It is. That's what I say. Even though sometimes Tom is like, what are you going to do with all this stuff? Might need it sometime. That's just kind of how I'm wired. But yeah, I love leftovers. And I love to keep, like, when you go out to restaurants, the leftover containers. Okay, not the styrofoam ones, okay? Furniture. But sometimes you go to these restaurants and they give you these really nice containers. Bonus! Because you're going to wash them up and keep them. So on top of having leftovers, you have leftover containers that you can keep using. That's great. That is really good stuff. But what's so great about leftovers? Oh, well, in the story that I wanted to tell you today, which when I forgot my glasses, I put it on here so that I could make it big enough to see it. Now I can do both. You see, there's a story in the Bible about leftovers, and leftovers are great. But the best part of the story is, first of all, there wasn't enough food to begin with. I mean, can you think about like the number of people? They're like right here. I'm terrible at estimating. How many people do you think are here today in our church? How many people do you think are here? More than 5? 22? That's a good number. That's a really good guess. Yeah. I would have to stop and count because I can't really estimate. But think about that. So, do you think I have enough to share with 22 people? Think I do? If I open them up and I give each person one thing out of the package, I probably would have enough. Or would this be enough for 5,000 people? Maybe. You think so? You probably know the story, and that's why. Because when you have something small and you give it to God, He makes it big. How big? Really, really big. So in the story that I want to tell you today, they had 5,000 people to feed. And they just had a little bit of bread and a little bit of fish in one basket. And that was it. What are we going to do? How are we going to feed all these people? Poor Jesus shaking his head with those disciples. Another question, another doubt, another time to forget how to trust in God. But guess what? When they trusted in God and when Jesus blessed them, not only did they have enough for 5,000 people, but they had 12 baskets left over to take back home. 12 baskets of leftovers when they only started with one basket to begin with. You see, we learn not to doubt, but to trust. Because in all the things, I mean, only God can take something small and make it huge. Only God can bless something that would make even leftovers better than what you started with to begin with. Wow. When you have that kind of trust in God, whew, you can just relax, go through your day, and say, thank you, God. Will you pray with me? God, we are blessed today because we know that when we put our trust in you, you make all things great. Even when we don't know it was great to begin with, you open our eyes. You show us how great it is and how much greater you can make it. All we have to do is participate. Just be that small part so that you can make things big. It's in your son's name. Amen. Hey, I got all these leftovers. I don't know what to do with. So you're going to have to pick. Okay. You get to pick. There you go. There you go.
Life is good. I have to remember how to do this. It's been a few weeks. Get rusty after a while. Let me try and set this up a little bit. The passage that I'm going to share with you is one of my favorite passages. It comes out of the third book of Ephesians, third chapter of Ephesians. It's Paul's prayer for the believers. And in a way of setting it up, we need to understand that Paul has been in prison. I was looking back through the book of Acts, is where the events of his life are recorded, all his ministries and his missions and all this stuff, and it also includes how he gets locked up. My best guess is that now he's in prison in Caesarea. He'd gone to Jerusalem with some Gentile friends of his, and they were going to go to the temple to worship, and it raised a ruckus, and it brought out the Roman guard to stop the riot that was starting. They were going to kill him. And he takes the opportunity at the steps into the barracks of the Roman guard. The centurion said, take him in the barracks, we can protect him in there. He stops and he says, I want to speak to the people. He starts to tell his story to the people, and they're all going, whoa, this is a good guy here. And they're all going, oh, that's really nice. Listen to this fellow talk until he says, at the very end, he said, God has called me through Christ to take his message to the Gentiles. Immediately, they're ready to kill him. So much so that there's a plot in his life. 40 guys who swore that they won't eat or drink until they kill him. And so word gets back to the Roman guards about this, and so they take him by horse and 200 foot soldiers to get him out of the city. And then they take him on to Caesarea, where he appears there before the governor, proconsul of the government, whatever, and he ends up in prison for a couple of years. Then he's moved from there to Rome. So I think it's my best guess is that time while he's in prison in Caesarea that he writes. Now, he's writing it back to a church that he had helped start. I think he's starting to get reports of how this church is coming alive in Ephesus. And but there's this notion, I think, of thinking about Paul in prison, and he's still on fire. share the Word of God. It's amazing. And imagine he's in this dark, damp little cell, and perhaps just a little slip in between the stones of the cell where a little bit of light and fresh air is allowed to come in there. And he's there in this beam of light shining into the darkness. And that's enough for him. That's enough for him to remember the source of that light. That God is there. And I'm thinking maybe that light shining in the darkness reminds him of the time when he was on the road to Damascus, when this brilliant light blinds him and drops him to his knees. And he remembers who has a hold of his life, his heart. And he still longs for everyone to discover that love, that grace, that wonder, that mystery that is the love of God revealed in Christ Jesus. And I think about him there penning these words. It's his prayer for the church in Ephesus, that they would understand the wonder of this love. Now, I want you to pay attention to what Paul prays for this church, because here's what he doesn't pray. Paul doesn't pray that they would be healthy and safe. No, he doesn't pray for that. He doesn't pray that they be successful or wealthy. That doesn't matter to him either. He doesn't pray that they would have the strength to stand up against their political foes, which is, of course, the Roman Empire in those days. He doesn't ask for that. Nor does he ask that they would have just a wonderful life. He doesn't ask for that as well. My friends, here is what Paul prays for. I invite you to hear these words. For this reason I kneel before the Father, from whom his whole family in heaven and on earth derives its name. I pray that out of his glorious riches he may strengthen you with power through his Spirit in your inner being, so that Christ may dwell in your hearts through faith. And I pray that you, being rooted and established in love, may have power, together with all the saints, to grasp how wide and long and high and deep is the love of Christ, and to know this love that surpasses knowledge, that you may be filled to the measure of all the fullness of God. Now to him who is able to do immeasurably more than all we ask or imagine, according to his power that is at work within us, to him be glory in the church and in Christ Jesus throughout all generations, forever and ever. Amen. Wow. What beauty to be penned about coming to know, to recognize, to realize that we walk and are invited into the very fullness of God. There's an image in there that I'm fond of, it's the farmer part, about being rooted down into it. And now remember, Paul is writing this to the church. He's not speaking to individuals, because it would be real easy to take this and sort of twist it out and make it sound like individually, and I'm not speaking against this, but individually working to come to understand, to study, and to develop this head knowledge about the love of God. But that's not what Paul's at here, I don't think. It's more, he's writing this to the family, to the church, to the faithful, to both the Jew and to the Gentile who understand, are beginning to grasp the enormity of the love of God for all God's creation. And Paul is inviting them collectively to get anchored into that truth, because it is there that you find life. Yesterday morning, I'm back from my trip, and I was making the rounds. Actually, Friday, I was making the rounds looking at some of our fields, and not too far from where we live now, because it's a glacial formation where the glacier stopped. It pushed up this big hill to the west of us. And I could drive over the top of this hill, which I'm very fond of doing, because of the view when you're on the top of it. You can see all this beautiful, beautiful out there. And we farm at the base of the hill, 500 acres. So it's a nice advantage point to look at it. And as I'm driving, making the turn down this hill towards our fields, I stopped on the road, which is not hard to do because nobody travels this road, other than occasionally a fellow that goes down to check a pumping station in the pipeline. And I stopped because I'm looking across the top of this corner, and I can see these guys. And what is it? Well, I knew it wasn't compassion, because they're two uniforms all the way across the field, close. And that's when I realized what it was. We had taken our ripper out there the fall before and stuck it in the ground as deep as we could go. Pulled that thing through there because we had done some piling work in there. We had some issues with clearing out. It's the lines where the shanks of the ripper go in the ground. And apparently, over the top of those slits cut in the ground, the roots of the corn plant were able to get farther down into the ground. And for some reason, it's marked through the field. Every one is. And I just marveled at such a slight difference in where a shank was and the ground between there has been heat, but where that shank was, it's left a place for better access for the roots of those corn plants to go deeper into this. And that, I think, is the very image that Paul is inviting the church to do, is to find that way to get the roots of who we are into the very love of God. And in doing so, we blossom forth into the fullness of life, into all that we can be. Also, that we would be rooted and grounded in that love. Grounded in the sense of a foundational thing, that our lives that we build together sit on that foundation, the love of God. That is now, as well in this passage is that phrase in there that I've used and you've heard before, about how wide, how long, how high, and how deep is the love of God. And if you've heard me talk about it, it's for dimensional things. If you're a builder, you understand how wide, how high, how deep. But there's a fourth dimension in this thing. What's up with that? It's time. So if you can imagine, what is Paul trying to express here how great is the love of God, right? It fills the universe, and it fills the universe for all time. It covers it all. Great image. Beautiful. An image beyond our ability to comprehend. You know, if you go to the book of Job, at the end of Job, he has this, well, he does it. It's really not a conversation with God, because God shows up in the storm and makes a few points with Job that they're not equals. And God goes into explaining about all the things in creation and keeps asking Job, were you there? Did you help me with that? What? And then he's overwhelmed by the enormity of Job. Right? Well, I got to reading about this letter, and one of the commentators goes, yeah, it's good to look at it that way. I mean, it's really, that's the easiest choice, is to look at it this way. But I think there's more. And he backs up into Paul's letter so far, and he pulls out 4 points from that letter that he thinks are these dimensions that explains what Paul is directing us at, is to come to this understanding of the fullness of the love of God. And his first point is that God is multidimensional. Yeah. How wide, how long, how high, multi-dimensional nature of God. Then he points out, the first one is the power of the love of God. That very power of the love of God that raised Christ from the grave. Resurrected power of the love of God. First dimension. Second, the mercy of the love of God. Forgive our sin, our wandering way, our shortcomings, our failure, doubts, fear. Mercy, the love of God. We would come to understand. But we're totally forgiven. It's all gone. And next, the lavishness of the grace of God. That God freely, joyfully showers his blessings upon all his creation. The wonder of the grace of God. And finally, he speaks of the wisdom of God. And that's the one, I think, that, considering Paul's situation, makes me be in awe of this apostle. Because he recognizes the wisdom of God at work in his life. Through, we would look at the stuff that's happened to him and go, oh man, tragic. People have been trying to kill him, whip him, beat him, hunt him down, imprison him. And Paul sees it as the wisdom of the love of God. In that God is using him for God's purposes. And Paul, while he's locked up in Caesarea, knows that the mission isn't done because God told him, he says, I'm going to send you to Rome to share my story. And I think Paul is there in that prison cell, can't wait for the trip to start. Because he knows that in the great plan of God's love, that this all works out. And that's the invitation that Paul is expressing to these people at Ephesus. He goes, I'm in prison. Don't worry about it. It's for your glory that I'm here. You're my shining star. You're it. You're the example to the world of what it is to be the family of God. To be Jew and Gentile side by side. In love with Christ. To be one. Many years ago, I went to Phoenix, Arizona, to a thing that was put on by Promise Speakers. It was for church leaders and pastors. Yeah, several thousand, 10,000 men gathered in this place. And one of the speakers gets up at the beginning and he goes, "Okay, now," I said, "on the count of 3, I want you to shout out loud whatever denomination or faith tradition you come from." So here we go. 1, 2, 3, and you hear all this Methodist, Presbyterian, Roman Catholic, and then you get some short little denominational short little thing, Church of God and Prophecy, and everybody else is already done. He's still hollering out what he is, and it's this cacophony of, gotta get that word right, cacophony of voices, all shouting out like we could out-shout. Presbyterians are going to be louder than the Methodists. No, that'll never happen. And on and on and on. And then he goes, okay. You know, the crowd kind of calms down. Everybody's getting a laugh out of this. And then he goes, now, he said on the count of 3, shout out, who is the head of the church? Who is the one that you love? Who is the one who died for you? Who is the one whose love you long to embrace fully? Here we go. 1, 2, 3, and the crowd shouts, Jesus! One voice, one family, no brokenness there. When we find that common ground of who we are, we are one in Christ. And to that I say, hallelujah and amen. I think I got a song